Hey guys, I apologize about that. I ran out of memory, so I had to do a second part to my second episode. So this is part two of part two. It's kind of funny. But anyway, so what I was saying about, about like this hike I went on. So my friend and I were on Lake Cushman a few hours, like an hour or so from here, and so we were climbing, and there's this cliff that you can jump off of, and the only way to get to it is if you use this rope swing and you pull yourself up and you walk. You walk up at an angle and you get to the top. It's probably about maybe 15 feet up. It's not very intense. It's just a little. You just jump into the water. But when we were doing that, I was just thinking about like my whole life and where I've been. And it's just in those short few moments, it was just like really fast. Just quick glimpses and such. And we live in a society that's very hostile and very aggressive with one another, and people, I think, should just really fall back to being in nature, because that's really the only time you're ever going to be at one with anything, because you're in this big wide open space. It's like uninhabited by anything, and it's uncorrupted, and you have just all, like all the wildlife and all the things that we should preserve, nature and evolution, and all these different existences on different parallels and such. And that's something that's very important that I think we should take into consideration, just more of what we don't see all the time, but when we do, it's like we see like the beauty of like what could be, like not just in nature, but like the nature within ourselves, like becoming the animal, and surviving, based off of animal instincts and stuff. I'm not saying like go like on a rampage and like kill each other, but I mean do what we have to do as a group, to progress and to survive. But anyway, so I was thinking about just all my, like the word hope. I was thinking about, just everything I want to do with my documentary and my films and my career, and because it just seems like I've just been meeting with so much criticism. People don't really understand me, and they don't know how I work, and they don't understand like how professional and how serious I am about this, even though I've been known as the person that parties and does drugs and has done a lot of stuff, and that's true and all, but people change, and I have changed. And if you can't see that, again, that's not my fault. That's your fault for having a misunderstanding of thinking that I'm still that way. I mean, people are capable of change, and sometimes change takes a while longer to set in for others than it does, everyone else. And that's not really a big deal. Yeah, that's just life. Life's not a big deal. But at the same time, it's kind of a big deal because you can do anything you want for a limited amount of time, and how much time you have isn't guaranteed. And that's kind of the thing. I mean, if you're only here on this earth for so long, why not do something so big that everyone notices? The universe itself has to listen and turn its head. And that's what, I go back to, like the hope, because it's like we're all universal, we're all dimensional, we all exist, and with ourselves and society and with nature and, like the universe and everything. But we're also just so aggressive and so hostile with each other. Like even in the most subtle instances, like just sitting in traffic or standing in line at a McDonald's, or something. There's always those people that are just so in a hurry, and they act like they're just better than everyone, and just all kinds of stuff happens, and then like it's just crazy, and I think we should really learn to love one another for who we are and our perfections and imperfections and things we want to do. I think everyone should just step back for a minute and really listen to what we're all trying to say to one another, whether it's on Facebook or through text or face to face. Because without communication and understanding, nothing could ever be achieved. Nothing. And you also need the backing of the words that you use, the action that you put behind the force of your vocabulary. It goes just as far as your vocabulary, if you really believe in yourself and what your end goal is, like what the end result is. And sometimes the goal changes, and that's okay too. Sometimes you make decisions that weren't as successful as, maybe previous engagements, and you take time to jump back and kind of evaluate yourself. And so when I evaluated myself in this situation that I'm going through, I just went on this hike and I jumped off this cliff and I hit the water and I went under the water through and I swam through the waves, and it was like each wave was like a barrier of like a metaphor for like an issue I've had been having, and I was just swimming past it. So it's kind of neat to think about. I know that's not the greatest analogy, but just bear with me. I'm a little tired, as you can see, and this is the next day of what I shot yesterday. I just didn't want to do it yesterday because I was uploading the first half, and that took a really long damn time. And this one's probably going to be half as long, maybe if just a few minutes shorter. I'm not really sure right now, but we'll see. Because, like I said, I never plan these things. I was just continuing this one because this is part two of part two. But anyway, so I mean, like again, like hope, like the word hope, and people believe in God and themselves and what they do, and but that doesn't mean that we should treat each other like shit just because we have different goals and we see the world differently. There's people that are athletes, and there's people that smoke weed, and there's people that just want to have a good time, and there's people that want to, make money on Wall Street, and they're I mean, people give so much shit to people who have money, and they think it's like everything's a conspiracy or everything's corrupt. Yeah, that is true. Like some stuff is pretty sketch, but not everything is a conspiracy. 9/11 happened because of a vendetta through terrorism during a previous engagement we had, and they wanted revenge. It's not a conspiracy. They attacked us because they were angry. It's like the government is not evil. Cops are not bad people, even though lately they've been getting a lot of, you know, um, discrimination because the people they happen to kill were African Americans, but that's, rather unfortunate because it's just setting us back another 200, 300 years, no big deal. But I think people just need to get off that shit, like cops protect us, and I mean, you don't see people talking shit about firemen. When firemen saving cats out of trees and shit, and saving your meth labs from blowing up, and I mean, I was just joking. Like fuck all that, but I mean, like you don't see people talk shit about firemen or teachers. I mean, there are bad teachers, and there are bad students too that are worse than teachers, but it you just gotta do what you gotta do. And maybe not worry so much about like what's happening in the world around you, but what's happening in the world inside yourself. You take what you learn from reality and you make kind of like a parallel for yourself, and you stick to it, on that one main line that makes sense to you. You don't have to explain it to anyone. You don't have to, like answer, for the things